Tansai Kia, Katie Dishinekashon. Hello, my name is Katie. Today I would like to acknowledge the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh Nations on which I am learning, organizing, and working today. I would like to personally acknowledge my positionality as a mixed settler and Métis woman whose families are uninvited guests on these traditional lands. As a visitor on this land, I have an important responsibility to acknowledge the traditional caretakers of this land and give my deepest gratitude that myself and my family can exist here. I believe it's important to acknowledge whose traditional land we are on because growing up here in BC, I've never heard the traditional names of the territories spoken out loud, discussed, or brought up in the classroom. Indigenous peoples were talked about in the past tense, and all the struggles they faced were in the past tense as well. It is easier to deny Indigenous peoples their rights if we historicize their struggles and simply pretend they do not exist in current times. As a proud Indigenous woman and a student working to end the colonial system through my own decolonized education, I would like to take this opportunity to commit myself to the struggle against the systems of oppression that have dispossessed Indigenous peoples of their lands and denied them their rights to self-determination. I encourage all of you watching to do the same and learn more about the traditional caretakers of the land you are situated on today. Thank you, and Marseille, all my relations.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. My name is Quinn Rafi Antoine, and I am the Indigenous Initiatives and Training Lead at the Gord Dani and Chani Wenjack Fund. Inspired by Chani's story and Gord's call to build a better Canada, we aim to build cultural understanding and create a path toward reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. It's great to be here for a special DWF Live with singer-songwriter and DWF Artist Ambassador, Natasha Fisher. Born and raised in Northwestern Ontario, Natasha is a vocalist and songwriter, crafting songs that take influence from both traditional pop and alternative genres. Her songs capture the intensity of heartbreak, healing, and self-discovery, while incorporating Indigenous elements that add depth and truth. Deeply inspired by her culture and community, she has dedicated a significant portion of her music career to touring First Nation communities, where she performs and addresses issues related to addictions and mental health. Today, Natasha will share some of her music that speaks to the ongoing crisis of missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and two-spirited people. We will cover heavy topics today, so we will be dropping mental health resources in the chat. Natasha, welcome, and thank you for joining us today. I'll pass it over to you to introduce yourself and share some of your music. Miigwech.
Anin, bonjour. My name is Natasha Fisher. I'm from Thunder Bay, Ontario, and I'm Anishinaabe in Finnish. And my family comes from Long Lac 58 First Nation, which is an Ojibwe territory in the Robinson Superior Treaty. I use music a lot as a form of, I guess, a healthy emotional outlet. And a lot of the times I write about where I am mentally and emotionally, and the song is called Blissfully Numb, and it's about, I guess, wanting to feel better when you're feeling sad. Blissfully numb, blissfully numb, blissfully numb. My mind is on vacation, my body's feeling vacant, my eyes they meet the clouds. Cries are in the distance, I'll keep my tunnel vision, the vapors have me now. Can I just skip past the bad news? I wanna stay where time has no value. Don't wanna leave if I don't have to. I wanna stay blissfully numb. Oh, blissfully numb, blissfully numb, blissfully numb. The walls are built are higher than to climb them with desire. So keep both feet on the ground. 'Cause if I'm all parts of being, feeling, never seeing, the world come crashing down. Can I just skip past the bad news? Don't wanna stay where time has no value. Don't wanna leave if I don't have to. I wanna stay blissfully numb. Oh, blissfully numb, blissfully numb, blissfully numb. Blissfully numb, blissfully numb, blissfully numb. Thank you. As an Indigenous artist, I feel like it's important for me to share what's going on within my community and within our community. And something that was really on my mind was Search the Landfill when I was writing this song. And this song is about MMIW, which is missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls in Two-Spirit. And, you know, this was a hard one to write, but it was about the unsafety that Indigenous women feel in society today and how that needs to change and where we can go from there. So this is called Where Do We Go? She stands both feet on stolen ground. She's speaking loud, they don't hear a sound, and it's deafening. She's seeking around for her safe and sound. They play lost and found on ancestral grounds. They're not listening. Oh, where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? I feel like something's shaking up. The earth is finally speaking up. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? She's creeping around her unseated town, singing sacred sounds as the dust falls down, and they're whispering. She's desperate now, she's calling out, her voice stronger now, and it echoes loud. Are you listening? Oh, oh, where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? I feel like something's shaking up. The earth is finally speaking up. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? But I hear the voice of the youth, and I hear the songs that speak truth, and I feel the strength of my ancestors now. I hear the voice of the youth, and I hear the songs that speak truth, and I feel the strength of my ancestors now. Whoa. Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? I feel like something's shaking up. The earth is finally speaking up. Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Where do we go? Thank you, Chimiquech.
Thank you so much. That was so incredibly powerful. I literally have chills from the last song.
Thank you.
We have some questions, so let's jump in. And for those tuning in, feel free to add your comments and questions into the chat. So question 1, for those who may not be familiar, can you please explain what missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and the Two-Spirited People crisis is and why it's essential for young people to understand and engage with it?
Of course. So the missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit crisis is literally within the title. It is a crisis that has been affecting Indigenous communities across Turtle Island. The statistic is that in Canada, Indigenous women experience violence 6 times more than non-Indigenous women. And we're seeing that be reflected in the statistics when it comes to the percentage of Indigenous women that are being murdered at alarming rates. Now, this is 6 times higher than non-Indigenous women. And I think that when it comes down to mainstream media and the news, I think that a lot of these stories are not talked about. And within that, not a lot of these stories are being resolved. Not a lot of these murders, not a lot of these crimes are being resolved, which makes families feel lost and like they have no conclusion to what is going on, which is unfair. And I believe that all Indigenous and non-Indigenous lives should be treated fairly. And it's just shown within the statistics that it's not.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Question 2 is, Indigenous cultures have always used art and song as a powerful form of storytelling and healing. How can creative expression help young people connect with their roots and carry forward important messages?
Well, in the first song that I played, it's a song that's not even out. Like I don't even have it recorded, but it helps to ground me before I sing anything and before I start a show. It's the first song that I play. And honestly, for me, music has been a lifeline. I've struggled with my mental health. I've struggled with addiction. I've struggled with those feelings of, I guess, lostness myself, feeling like I don't belong. I grew up a mixed Indigenous in a small northern city, and sometimes I didn't fit in with either groups of people, and I wasn't sure where I belonged. But for me, music was a place where I belonged, and it was always something that accepted me with open arms into where I am. And I think that through that, I've made lifelong friendships, I've made relationships, and I think it just creates this community for people who might not have one. And for a long time, music has been a part of our culture, like the heartbeat of the drum, everything, it's all connected. So I think that the more, especially now as a reconnecting Indigenous person, the more traditional songs that I learn and the more community that I meet, it just embraces me. And music is just such a great starting point for people to come together. Even if you think about any type of Indigenous, like traditional gathering or celebration, we always have that piece, and that's music. So I think it's such a great starting point to start to reconnect or start to come together as one. So yeah.
Thank you. Your work spans across many mediums, including Instagram and TikTok. What role does social media play in amplifying Indigenous voices and raising awareness about missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirited People?
I think Instagram and social media in general, TikTok, whatever it may be, I think is a great place to get the word out, awareness. The same way that we show up at protests wearing red shirts and red dress pins and shirts that say MMIW, like the same way that we do that in person, we do that online as well. And I think that that's a powerful thing to understand, is that, we can use our voices in every space that we come into. And I know that when it was COVID and there was like a rise in TikTok users, I think that was one of the first times that I'd heard people discuss MMIW as a crisis, and we were able to hear a wide range of people's stories. And I think it made people who have been through losing a loved one with no resolution. I think it helped create a community of people to stand together and to discuss this crisis on like a national and even a world level, because people were not aware of what was going on. I think, one of the first stories I heard growing up in Thunder Bay was a story of a woman who got hit out of a moving car with a trailer hitch, and like, just that level of violence towards Indigenous people, like I think it needs to be discussed and it needs to be talked about. And on social media is the place where non-Indigenous people get a platform, or Indigenous people get a platform to share our experiences, firsthand experiences, to non-Indigenous people and real life experiences. So I think that it's really valuable that we continue to do that on social media. And I know that there are many Indigenous creators who that is their whole platform, is talking about missing, murdered Indigenous women because they have a sister who has gone missing or a mother who has gone missing. And, just to continue to amplify those voices. Every time I see those videos, I continue to share them, repost them, comment, and, create that community.
That's so important. Thank you. What are some ways young people can be allies and support Indigenous communities, and especially in addressing issues like this crisis?
I think amplifying Indigenous voices. And, there are public protests that you can look up within your cities that people gather and protest on all of these issues that they want to create awareness towards. And I know May 5th, there is always protests in every single community. So, maybe checking in with your local Indigenous Friendship Center or your local Indigenous Community Center or an Indigenous community member you may know, and asking where you can go to show your support and show your solidarity with community members. I think that's really important. And, just amplifying Indigenous voices whenever you see a video that is talking about Indigenous issues like MMIW, and, sharing those and making sure that your non-Indigenous friends are also aware of these issues. Because I think the only way that we can have like reconciliation is by telling the truth. And I think in a lot of ways we're still stuck in this truth-telling era, because we need everyone to be on the same page and everyone to be aware of what's going on within our communities, and then we can go from there. But I believe like the most important thing is amplifying Indigenous voices, for sure.
Thank you so much, Natasha. And for all those who tuned in today, this marks our last DWF Live for the season. Miigwech to all of those who have kept up with us this year, and we look forward to seeing you again in September. Have a great day.
Miigwech.